They're coming after your boy. They wanted some?
Well, come get some.
Obviously, we've seen what's going on across the country, what is happening across our beautiful provinces, and obviously the drama happening in the House of Commons with people pretending to be Indigenous when they're not, and acting like Elizabeth Warren, and the term Pocahontas getting thrown around. Who knows? It's crazy over there right now. But I got to talk about a story that's actually kind of insane that's happening directly to me. Yes, if you were here watching our show last week, we talked about this scenario, this issue, this considerable weird issue that happened over in Surrey, BC, where a man was caught on camera with his live stream telling all white people to go back to Europe during a Khalistan parade of some sorts, a Khalistan protest of sorts. And that story got blown up, and we on the show covered it as well. Well, we knew that wasn't going to come without its consequences. They came after your boy. And we're going to talk about all that right now. Because what were we seeing? What would happen? Over the past couple of weeks, we saw Donald Trump get reelected in the United States of America. And people are saying, the United States are back. That's what they'll be saying. That's what they have been saying. They saw Trump walking into UFC and people going crazy. Football players doing the YMCA. You got John Jones going, YMCA. We have so many people who are just jumping on the Trump train because conservatism is now hitting mainstream. Conservatism is becoming cool again. But the battle still continues, and that is something that we are seeing here at home. We'll start off with the UK. We've seen what happened with their online harms bill that was passed. Now people are getting knocks on the door when they are accused of misinformation or getting accused of saying naughty things online. The cops are saying, "Who's your daddy?" It's the government. Hello, drop your pants. Probably shouldn't have said that. My bad. That was off color. I shouldn't have said that out loud. That's on me. But similar things are happening here at home. We've heard a lot about Bill C-63 here in Canada, the online harms bill, which is very interesting because, again, this whole idea, this cascading blanket they keep, our government officials keep trying to sell this with is we have to protect against misinformation. We have to protect against disinformation. Have you heard of those before? Have you heard that before? Yes, we've all heard it, and we're kind of all sick of it. But this is kind of what the ideas are they're pushing so they can have more control over what's happening in the online world. And so we can make sure we quell misinformation. We saw this happen with our boy Reg, who used to be my co-host on this podcast. If you're new, you don't know this happened. But we dared talk about the Khalistani protests that were erupting in Calgary and how they're chanting death to India. And we said, as normal Canadians, just like, that's not cool. No one should be wishing death on anybody. And then we got bot attacked like no tomorrow and got such heinous things posted on our videos to the point where it forced Reg to have to leave the show. If you say something that people do not like, they'll come after your job. They'll come after your loved ones. They'll come after whatever they can to get you to shut up. And we're seeing that here now. And that's all in defense of things like the online harms bill, where there's no official bill here in Canada with that, but they put enough pressure that's things like Reg have happened, or to others where I've seen people debanked for things they've said online. And now they want to have some more teeth to that. Look at what they're trying to do with Bill C-63 here, shall we? So the things they're trying to mitigate with Bill C-63 is they're looking to criminalize sexual exploitation and abuse, which is already a law, but whatever. Making it illegal for non-consensual sharing of nudes, oftentimes used in sextortion, which we know has led to loss of life, which again is illegal still, on other laws in the books. Obligations for ISPs and platforms to remove explicit images of minors and content promoting self-harm, which again is already a law on the books. But what they're looking to shoe into this online harms bill is content that incites violence or terrorism, hate speech. Online platforms implement measures to prevent the dissemination of harmful content, whatever that means. These are the laws that are coming down the pipes. And the reason why, Josh, are you starting off the show talking about these things? Well, because as I said, to start things off, they came at your boy. They came at me. I knew that when I posted that video last week talking about the issue of Surrey, BC, admittedly, I'll be honest with you, I'll be gut level. I was more worried about random white dudes coming in saying some radical racist crap. That's what I was worried about. I opened up those comments. It was filled with Indians saying, "You made your bed, Canada, with these Khalistanis." And all of these Indians were just victory lapping on my head. And so I was like, I kind of thought that was funny. I laughed it off. But then I started getting my inbox started filled with emails of upset Khalistanis with my coverage of this story, saying, be critical, use your mind. This is misinformation that you've shared. This was a fake video, and now you've endangered the lives of Sikhs across Canada. Your dissemination of this fake story is leading to the lives of Sikhs being in danger. If we remember, we talked about Kushal, right? We talked about, he very much specified the difference between how it's, people like to decipher or like to set this whole issue up of Sikhs versus Hindus. And he said, no, it is Sikhs, Hindus versus Khalistanis. So when I started seeing these in the emails, like, oh, you're harming you're harming Sikhs across the country, I'm like, oh, I know who you are. I know what you're trying to do. And I got email after email after email of people just saying, your show has caused harm to the Sikh community. Quite frankly, I'm sick of hearing it. So clearly it was a coordinated effort, because I've got email after email after email from these people, all citing the same YouTube video of showing how I was false, how I was fake, how it was fake news, how it was a fake story. And I'm going to show you that video right now. It is two gentlemen, one from the UK, one from here in Canada and about in Vancouver, who covered this story, covered my video, and listen to what they had to say about me.
That fake video has done the rounds across social media. When you look at it, and I've looked at it again myself in more detail, it's astoundingly fake. It is astoundingly obviously fake.
Prove it! Why is it fake? Prove it! Listen if they can prove of why it's fake. They keep saying it's fake. How is it fake?
But, to you and me, James, we look at this and I think we can call it out very easily as fake. Sadly, though, many people out there just take it at face value. They don't know the nuances of Indian politics. We at least have got a flavour of it. We don't fully understand it because it's very complex. We're not in the Sikh community ourselves, but at least we've had a flavour. And we can start to pick apart the obvious logical failures of this video. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there, particularly in the Western world, who have no understanding or knowledge of Indian politics or the nuances or the complexities of it. They just take it at face value. I'm now going to play you a video, and I have to lay credit to one of our regular correspondents, Suki Baines, who emailed us to highlight this on YouTube. And there is a podcast that's a reasonably well-watched podcast. It's not huge, but it's I think they've got about 10,000, 8 or 10,000 subscribers. But it's a Canadian podcaster who's picked up on this story. He's found this video on social media. And this guy, he's not, I don't think he's not right-wing, he's not far right-wing. He's just, I think if I had to label his politics, he probably sits right of centre. But he seems from at least first on the...
At least they got that one right. I'll give them to that. At least they got my politics right, which a lot of people don't get right. So I'll give them credit. That was awesome.
Face of it, he picks up general news stories and talks about it in a very eloquent and very passionate way. There's a certain appeal to this guy. But what he's done, he's picked up this video, James, that we talked about last week, that you analysed and clearly is a fake video. He's picked it up and he's had this to say about it. Watch this. This is quite scary.
This is our country. We are owner of Canada. We are proud Canadian. Like, share, everybody. Like, share.
Well, this is wild. This just happened and took place in terms of an event that we see here in Surrey, BC. We just played this. You heard that correct. You are invaders. You don't belong here. Go back to Europe. Go back to Israel. We are the real Canadians. You go back. These are the words that were uttered at an event, a Khalistan event in BC. How are we supposed to take that? How are we supposed to feel about that? I don't know. I would say a little offended. What are we supposed to do with this?
Right. Now, I don't blame this guy at all. He's just taken that at face value. He doesn't know anything about Indian politics, but he's seen that video. If I was in his shoes and I didn't know anything about the Khalistan issue and what was going on with Hindutva, I'd have the same reaction saying, well, guys, hang on, you're living in Canada. You don't drive us out of our country. Of course, that's not even right-wing to say that. It's just a perfectly normal human reaction. But that is the impact of this video. For every one of him, there are hundreds of thousands of ordinary, decent Canadian citizens who will watch that video and have that same reaction. That is the dangerous power of misinformation, of fake videos. Now, I mean, again, I watched that video. Like, subscribe in this dreadful Indian accent. I mean, again, I just watched it and just laughed and shook my head. How clearly fake that is. And yet, this ordinary, decent Canadian citizen, whoever he is, whatever his name is, on this Elevate podcast, yeah, he's had a very predictable, understandable reaction to it. That's what's so dangerous about misinformation like this. And he talked at great length. He talked, for 5 or 6 minutes, just saying, look, we just can't have this. We've got to react. And that's what it's all about. We've got to react to this. We've got to push back against it. And this is what feeds the right-wing extremism, because it pushes people, ordinary people in the centre, it pushes them to the right. Hindutva, no...
Oh, baby. There's something meta about this, right? It's something about reacting to a video, reacting to one of your other videos. It's kind of weird watching myself. That's kind of odd. But the idea of, clearly it's a fake video. Clearly, this guy doesn't really know what he's talking about. He has no idea about Indian politics. Literally, if they just did even a lick of a little bit of extra research, they would have seen 2 episodes ago when I'm actually interviewing someone from India about these issues. I'm not coming out of left field on this. I'm also just talking about what's happening here in Canada. Oh, it's a fake video. They said it again at the end of the video and still couldn't provide any evidence of how it was fake. I thought they're going to go into something a little more deep. I don't know, like all AI may have been involved here. It was just a voiceover or some type of technical explanation of why this was it. Not just, who says like and subscribe? Who says like and subscribe on a live stream? Who does that? I don't know. Everybody who does a TikTok live? Have you been in a TikTok live? Obviously, these guys are north of 60 some years old. They haven't touched social media or in any meaningful way. Coming and telling me, oh, this is clearly they don't know what they're talking about here. Who does this? Like, there's no technical explanation here, which shows me that they don't know what they're talking about. And accusing me of spreading misinformation. Well, do you know what I find funny about this story? Is you heard that video, you heard the guy, and you've heard it plenty of times, I'm sure at this point, of go back to Canada, you're not welcome here, go back to Europe. Like, that's what it said. You can hear the cadence in his voice. Listen to how he talks and the cadence in his voice. Because another video was sent to me of that same man on another live stream admitting to being the man on that video who said what he said. He speaks in his native tongue in this video, and it was translated, and I've gotten from good authority that the video was translated correctly, and he admits to being the guy in the video. And I'm going to play just 15 seconds of it, because you just need to hear the cadence in his voice. It's clearly the same guy.
Okay. ਹਾਂਜੀ ਭਾਜੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹ ਮੈਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਹੀ ਭਈ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆ ਚਿੱਟੀ ਚਮੜੀ ਵਾਲੇ ਯੂਰਪ ਜਾਂ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਚਲ ਜਾਓ ਵਾਟਐਵਰ ਉਹ ਗੱਲ ਵੈਸੇ ਤਾਂ 1200 ਲੋਕ ਉਦੋਂ ਦੇਖਦਾ ਸੀ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਆ ਨਗਰ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਸੀਗਾ ਸਰੀ ਚ ਤੇ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਵੀ ਮੇਰਾ ਟਿਕਟੌਕ ਲਾਈਵ ਆਇਆ ਗੋਰਿਆਂ ਮੋਰੇ ਉਨੀ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਇਹ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਲੋਕ ਸਿੱਖ ਪੱਗਾਂ ਬੰਨ ਕੇ
So those who are listening audio can obviously hear the similarity in tones. Clearly it was the same guy. And then this guy was admitting in the translation here, he says, yeah, it was me who was on that video. Yeah, it was me who was live streaming. And I started saying those things because a bunch of racist white people started getting in my live and started telling me to go back to my country. So I just reacted in kind. I just said the same thing back to them. I told them, you know what? You're on indigenous territory, so you need to go back to Europe. That was his explanation for this. Whether right or wrong, it proves the point that this guy was there. It was a real video. So the idea of these media organizations claiming it was a fake video and trying to push these overt lies, all it takes, based on what we talked about the online harms bill to start this, all it takes is one person to accuse you of misinformation who has a small bit of a platform. And then I'm getting the knock on my door saying, oh, well, we are the justice police here and you need to relax on your rhetoric online. I was posting the truth, sharing the truth. And I even gave credence and I even gave the benefit of the doubt that it was just a one guy saying a bunch of stupid crap. And who cares? Because my point was, if that was a white guy saying overt things on a live stream like that, You would have known that would have gotten to the PM of our country. You would have known that would have gotten to the leads of all our political parties and denouncing it unequivocally, and rightfully so. But you won't hear anything about it from our politicians because it was this context with a Khalistani man telling a bunch of white people to go back to where they came from. As I said, you could even agree on this show. Like, well, he was just responding back to racist in the comments. Fair enough. Personally, don't even blame the guy. However, we know the point of the story, the point of me sharing that last week, was we know that wouldn't matter if it was a white guy. That was all I was trying to share. It was what it was. But I thought this was so interesting. The one thing I loved about the show that started talking about me is like, at least, they called me eloquent. Oh, I love that. At least they call me passionate. At least they call me, this is a guy who's like relatively, he's kind of a good guy. He's a moderate conservative. They got my label. They got my political pronouns right. Dang straight. No one ever gets my political tags right. They always call me far right. At least someone's like, no, he's a moderate conservative. Thank goodness someone sees it. But that was the positive of that video. I just wonder who the heck these guys were and what are they about? Because when you have people posting fake news, essentially fake facts, fake things about my show and about my integrity, I take issue with that. I have a problem with that. And the problem is people forget I am one guy on my show, but I do have a team of people behind me and we did our homework. We looked into the show. We looked into these two jabronis. James Cousineau out of BC, if that's his real name. Then you have this Angus Scott. Who the heck are these guys? They work for a company, clearly, as you saw in that YouTube video. That video is posted on a YouTube account called Sutluj TV, which is a bit of part of a bigger media conglomerate called Sutluj Network, which is a company that posts news content. Let's go to their website, though, shall we? First, let's go to their support their cause point of their website, because I think it's important to read and understand what their point is. What are they trying to do? What is their mission in life? It says that Sutluj Network, we are committed to delivering the truth with integrity and transparency. Our team of dedicated journalists work tirelessly to bring you accurate and unbiased news, keeping you informed and empowered. Your support is vital in our mission to uphold the highest standards of journalism and to continue providing the trustworthy news you rely on. Together, we can ensure that the truth prevails. Thank you for standing with us. That's who they are. They believe in the truth and trustworthy news, keeping you informed with unbiased. Let's go through the homepage, shall we? Indian government is playing cheap tactics to force Sikhs to beg before them for every right. Sikh diaspora be vigilant as Hindutva politics is out to provoke and trap Sikhs. Kendri Singh Sabha. PM Modi is highly mistaken. There is no attack on Hindus' temple. Media spreading a white lie. You saw the videos. You saw what happened. This article is saying it's a lie. It's misinformation. We saw the Khalistanis attack the temple a couple weeks back. So you think that these people believe in unbiased truths? You think they believe in giving you the truth? No, they're going to label shows like mine. Oh, you're Canadian. You know what you're talking about. You are spreading misinformation. Yes, says the guy from BC and UK. They know better than me. Why don't they? Guys who don't know how social media works. Probably the only social media they have is Facebook. Shout out to our Facebook users here on the show. But this is the Sutluj Network. These are the people that are funding this show that came at me. Those guys are taking money. That is a paid show. Taking money from a network that has a clear bias. Say what you want. I don't care. Have your bias. I don't care. Just come out straight about it. We hate India. Simple as that. Just be real. That's all we care about. That's all we want. But no, we're unbiased. Get out of my face. Sutluj Network. All right, who's funding these fools? Well, I had to look into that even a little more. The Mangat Group launches the Sutluj Network, news app delivering inspirational stories for TV and internet. A group of 5 men here and 2 men, I would imagine, are probably from India. Don't know where. Is it from India? Are they from what they determine as Punjab? I don't know. I'm not making any assumptions like some people do around here. But this article out of Phoenix, Arizona says new streaming app connects and serves global community through uplifting content, good news from around the world, insightful stories, messages of hope, and solid journalism. You read those stories. You saw those articles. It's uplifting, all right. The attack on the Hindu temple, that didn't happen. We didn't do that. Swords weren't wielded in the streets of Canada. That didn't happen. Oh my gosh. By the end of 2022, Manga and Singh plan to have a fully operational news studio in Glendale, Arizona, streaming news 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They are currently searching for reporters and figureheads across the world to join the virtual team and have already secured interest from Pinnacle County Sheriff Mark Lamb. In addition to news and scripted content, users will have the ability to submit their own content. The Sutluj Network is the perfect space for content like "And They Occupied Me," said Sutluj Network co-founder Surinder Singh. The network is a space that promotes world peace, justice, and inclusion. It is our desire to continue to bring in other new and original content that aligns with our mission. We're creating a new narrative to discuss different beliefs and make our own decisions. Are you now? Okay, yeah, you're funding shows that are accusing people like me of misinformation while peddling themselves misinformation. One of the guys' names, Angus Scott. I don't even think it's a real name. I don't even think he's a real guy. Josh, what do you mean he's not a real guy? Clearly he was on the... I'm not saying he's like an AI figure. I'm saying obviously he's a real person. But I don't think his name is his actual name. Why do I ask that? Well, as I said, Angus Scott, apparently he's from the UK, is what he said is what the show said. And so when I look up Angus Scott, television presenter, I'm like, oh, okay, these guys are a pretty well-known guy. Angus Scott is an international broadcaster, journalist, university lecturer, and academic. I was like, okay, this guy knows his stuff. Maybe I don't really know what I'm talking about. He has worked for Al Jazeera, BN Sports, ITN, ITV Sport, and Satanta Sports. He mainly covers football, rugby union, but has also hosted cricket and motorsport coverage. In 2021, he completed a doctorate at the University of Winchester on Al Jazeera. It's been around, but then I was like, 1990 to present, years active. Wait a second. Who is this guy? And this is what I found. Broadcast journalist Angus Scott is a hugely experienced international broadcast journalist. He has worked with some of the biggest global media companies, including ITV, ITN, Al Jazeera, and IBN Sports. Again, same bio as his Wikipedia. That's not the same guy that was on YouTube. I couldn't find the guy on YouTube. I don't know. This guy's clearly using a fake name. I should say, sorry, I gotta make sure I'm not peddling misinformation. Sorry. He's peddling what appears to be a fake name. It appears to be operating under a pseudonym, I would say. That if people type in Angus Scott and they see the Wikipedia post, they don't see any images, they just see the bio. I'm like, assuming this guy knows his stuff. And they don't realize they're talking about a totally different dude. So that's interesting. Let's go back to my prior point. Who is funding these guys? The Mangat Group, right? Who is the Mangat Group? This is probably the weirdest part of it all, folks. The Mangat Group. Our objective entails delivering economical, adept, and streamlined truckload services to our entire customer base. The Sutluj Network is owned by a trucking company in Arizona. What does a trucking company in Arizona have to want to be pushing a specific narrative out of a news network in Arizona? What the heck is even going on here? I'm literally stuck. Oh, Josh, are you sure it's the same guys? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same guys. Let's go to the contact. Glendale, Arizona, of the Mangat Group, which again was mentioned in this article. Mangat Group launches the Sutluj Network. Who the heck are these guys? They obviously partnered with that guy named Mr. Singh to launch this thing. Like, where is the connection? What's the interest? Obviously, it's make money, but they're clearly pushing false stories. They accuse people like me of misinformation. That if we talked about the beginning of the show, is why I talked about the Online Harms Act in the UK. Be careful over there, Angus Scott. I can see why you're not using your real name, is because if you hearing me now, this episode's gonna go a little viral, possibly. And now people are gonna be like, whoa, this guy Angus Scott, he's pushing misinformation. And in your country where you're from, you're gonna get the knock at your door, folks. Don't mess with the Elevate podcast, all right? Just because we have other things in our lives doesn't mean we don't take the time out to find out who is speaking blasphemy on our name. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because let's talk about his partner, James Cousineau. Let's talk about these guys, shall we? James Cousineau owns a company called ProPic. ProPics Canada Media Limited is his company that he owns. And they do, let's take a deep breath, work off the diaphragm. Photography, videography, media production, management, AI, technology solutions, service provider, consulting, management, training, workshops, custom solutions. If you couldn't, as the old catch-all with everything else, they clearly don't, they never heard the term of niching down. And then you go through the website and it's absolute crap. Absolute crap. Like, this is, Josh, I don't know if you have I don't think you're allowed to say this about, no, I can because I'm a designer and I would never, ever put my name to this. What the heck is even this? This thing looks like it was designed back in the late 90s. The thing's terrible. And you click on random links. Like we started clicking around, having some fun with this website, providing everything you need, except for a good website. But we were going through this website, and there's aspects of this website that the filler text is still there. Heading 2, body 1. There's not even content on this website. This is a fake website. This is all fake. Like, what the heck is even this? This thing doesn't even operate properly, and it's designed terribly. How do I even know this guy is actually providing these services? Because clearly he's providing everything under the sun. You want to come at me saying I'm spreading fake news, misinformation? Oh, I'd think twice before I look even deeper on this. Because this, for all intents and purposes, looks like a shell company to me. And shall we have fun someday to find out what you're hiding? Don't mess with the internet, man. Don't mess with our show ever again. Don't be sending people coming at me, spreading lies, that I'm spreading lies, misinformation. Here, I'm always happy to have a conversation where we discuss the facts, where we have a debate over the core issues. But when you start making stuff up off the top of your dome, you people in glass houses really shouldn't be throwing stones because you don't mess with us. You've already messed with us once, losing my co-host. You think I'm going to let you keep screwing with us? Not a chance. Josh, you're spreading misinformation. Well, turns out the video is true and all of that, so get over it. How does it apply to Canada? Let's wrap this nicely, shall we? Back to the online harms bill, Bill C-63. It's gone through the first reading, is currently in second reading. You as Canadians need to message and email your MPs so that they hear loud and clear that we do not want this. So that when your favorite media creators are covering stories, they don't get at their door next saying someone accused you of spreading misinformation. We don't want this. We want this gone. Either we have to push this so that they can't get through another election next year and this thing is dead in the water. Because if this gets through a second reading, then the wheels are turning on this. It'll be a lot harder to stop. Email your MP, find their contact info, and let them know you don't want this. It needs to come in resounding numbers. Needs to. Well, that's our show. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you all later. Peace.